What's up, everybody? It's a poor attempt at a more critical impression here. And today, I'm going to bring you the most stupidest poll you ever seen on YouTube. And yes, the most stupidest will now be the part of the English language. And it will be more well known than the Call of Duty series, but that since it has more intelligence than the poll we're about to go over. The poll starts as, where's the real flag of America? Already a terrific start with that question, written as horribly as it could be. And trust me, it gets more and more worse in that Men in Black series once we delve into the comments. For I can do that, I will spoil the answer. It's C. All American flags have 13 stripes, past and present, to represent the original 13 colonies. And every time when a new state is added to the United States, they will add a star in the flag. Something that you learn in elementary school. Apparently the comment section didn't went to school at all or didn't pass the second grade. I'll be censoring all these names, but the top commenter says B has 10 stripes, the real flag has 13, so it's none of them. Buddy, how do you even check option C? It has 13 stripes, so B is wrong, I agree with that, but suddenly A and C is out because of B? What sense does that make? It's like picking either pizza, steak, or turkey sandwich for dinner, and you probably say you don't feel like eating steak, so you go starve instead of selecting the other two. I get you don't want steak, but there's other options too. Alright, let that critical impression quickly die, but let's just keep going. It doesn't stop. There's a guy that disagrees with the commenter and says B is correct because the stars represent what we have today. Yeah, it's true the flag of the United States uses 50 stars today, but did you completely miss out what the other guy was talking about? They were talking about stripes, not stars. Those are two different things entirely. Next commenter says, why is none of them? Gives his reasons. I'll go over the reasons in a bit, but let's dive into the replies. This guy says A and C were flags at one point, but not currently. Wrong on A. They're thinking of the Bessie Ross flag, but it has more stripes than the original Bessie Ross flag. However, the statement, not currently, grinds my gears. I see this particular statement all over the comment section and it drives me up the wall. No way, shape, or form has ever asked about current flags. It has about real flags. People, for some reason, say that when it wasn't specifically asked. It's like me asking you what's 2 plus 2, but you take it as 3 plus 3, so you should say 6. I mean, yes, it has math, it has addition, but it's not what I ask you. There's no point in that question that contains the word currently. And yes, the question itself is stupid and hard to understand, but it doesn't take a rocket science to understand what it's asking about real flags. Anyways, the main focus of this reply section, for some reason, is talking about continents, which you can see. The first guy who replied to the reply goes, America is a continent. OP replied with, technically, it is not a continent since you count North and South America. You wouldn't call two continents, that's one. The Americas is how you refer both. Person 7 says the Americans are a region and America is not a continent. The person 1 asks 7 to define America. Which brings the next section, which is a different conversation entirely. Two different people. But it's something I want to bring up because it's relevant to what I'm about to say next with all that continent stuff. So you got this guy, he goes, most other countries and other languages call us Americas too. Which the next person says, no one in Spanish calls people from the United States Americas. And precisely gives examples of what they call Americas in Spanish. In other parts of the world, for some reason, America for them, you know, what we know, North and South America, it's just one big continent called America. I guess the hemispheres for them, one of them is just Earth and that's it. They don't have four hemispheres. They only have one, which is Earth for them, I guess. You want to cut them out or anything. It's a frustrating part about it is that when you try to Google what's right, you kind of get both answers for it at the same time. It's really, really dumb. I can't think how did that even happen? Now, I understand with the language barrier and stuff, they're gonna be taught different ways. Here's why I think why the whole continent thing is fucking stupid. Let's talk about the name itself. The United States of America. The key word is America. What I find is that most languages, the majority of languages, have the word America and the United States of America in it. And we're not talking about what we call them people Americans. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just the name of the country itself. I want to make that very clear. They should know at some point, at some times, they shortened that name to just America because it's faster than saying United States of America every time. I mean, trying to say that 5 times fast versus saying America 5 times fast. You'll find which one's more easier to do, which they should know. And not only that, they look at the multiple choice with American flags. There's only 3 flags outside of the United States that you can make an argument looks like an American's. Those are Chile, Malaysia, and Libya. But I am loosely putting in Chile and Malaysia because Chile only has 2 stripes but has a star, but Malaysia has the stripes but doesn't have the star. Only flag that really has both of them is Libya, and they only have 1 star. So we got that as well. Okay, so we got to find a language does not have the word America in the United States, the name itself. And then I got to find someone who thinks that flag belongs to a different flag, a different country. And on top of that, you're going to find someone that doesn't call the Americans the Americans. They call them like the United Statesans or something like that. Which I think it's kind of dumb, but like it's how their language goes, so I can't really crap on it. So you gotta find someone with all 3 of these making a comment. Nope, there is one more I almost forgot to add, is that someone has to be taught that Americas is one big continent and not split up into like some other people know. Now you know how rare that is to find someone with 3 of those problems conjoining together? I'm saying it's nearly impossible for half of the comment section to be talking about America is a continent argument. It is so dumb they turn off their brains if they think for 20 seconds. I'll be generous. If they even thought about it for a minute straight, did a little bit of research, I bet they can finally figure out their senses, but I don't think it even takes 20 seconds. I bet you can look at it all that for a few seconds and be like, oh, they're talking about the United States, not the continent or anything like that. But there's more comments like these. Here's one. I didn't know continents have flags now. As far as I'm aware, when it comes to North and South American continents, they don't have flags. I know Australia has one. I know Antarctica has one. I think that Europe has one as well, with the whole European Union. Which, you know, this guy is fucking wrong. Dead as a dirt if he's talking about if he didn't know continent has flags, which they do. But we're not going to talk about the other countries because we're going to get more into it. Just, yes, the comments spiral out of control with other countries, which we'll get. I agree what this second person says, but it could be wrong. The same person goes, but I know it isn't a country named America. I know, but there isn't a country named America. What are you talking about? Most languages have the name United States of America in it, and I don't think any other country has the word America in it other than United States of America. That even if you speak another language and say if English isn't your native language, I believe you will at some point learn about other countries' names. If someone tells you that United States is called America, it should make your gears turn and be like, oh, in English, they just shortened their country's name to America. Or if you see the word USA, you'll be like, what does the A stand for? I only learned that US means United States, but never the A. Kind of like how I learned in Spanish class, that I learned how to pronounce Mexico and Spain, because that's where you see a lot of native speaking Spanish speakers there. It makes sense when you're learning a language that you figure out where the origin comes from and where the most popular language is spoke from. And I can certainly tell you English is very popular in the United States. I agree with person 3. I am losing on person 2 for that Australia comment. Yep, here we go with the country one. Which person 4 understands my feelings and makes a point about it, but person 2 clears it up. And I forgot to hit read more, but it was saying like, you know, Australia's full name, the Commonwealth of Australia. They shortened it down to just Australia, which makes sense. That's sometimes what we do with our country, United States of America. They shorten it down to just America. And person 4 is like, oh yeah, my bad. I didn't get you right, but now I did. And person 5 is like, there's no continent called Australia, only Oceania. I guess he was blown from Stupidest. I'll quickly break down why. So Oceania is a region of a lot of water around it. And how you define a continent is mainly landmass. Oceania is water mass. See the problem here? When you call something that's mostly water, it isn't called a continent. It is called what's most likely be a region. Australia is mostly land, so it's called Australia for a reason. But I have seen pages where they say Australia is actually called Australia and the Oceania, but I couldn't confirm it. But it is there. I don't understand why people don't know what a continent is anymore. Some person continues with, if you consider Australia a continent, then the United States is a country and America is a continent. They completely removed the word America in there on purpose. They just say U.S., but they didn't say America in it. They said United States, but no America. So they purposefully remove it. Because they're speaking English, by the way. Now, I don't know if other English language like United Kingdom don't include America, but I imagine they do. I can't imagine other English speaking people will not call the United States of America just United States. At least the whole name, the full name of the United States, which is the United States of America. He must have clearly been drinking stupid juice from stupid film. Also, it's like the word America, it's not lumped into just one thing only. It doesn't have to be a continent, which let's say America is just one big continent. Let's just give him that. Now you have two things that can go with it, which is the country name and the continent name. Now, it's fair that they both can be lumped together, where the confusion can happen. Like a towel, for example. You use it to dry yourself, but you can also lay it down to get a sunbathe at the beach. Or a TV, where you can play video games or watch cable. There's so many examples like that where two could be lumped into so many separate things. And this guy's like, no, it's only one thing. They can only be one thing, which is so idiotic. That's probably the most stupidest thing I heard in that comment section, yeah, but there's more. That's not America. That's the United States of America. The word America is not in the United States of America when they type in USA or anything like that. Person 2 was like, please name another country with the word American in it. And if person 4, for some reason, named everything else but actual countries. One of them is a territory, the other one's a union, and the other one is a region. They're not countries. At the end of it all, he goes, so just how tight do you have to twist the rules to match your perspective? My guy, you name a region, a territory, a union, but not a country named America. There's only one country I could find that's named America, which is the United States of America. You didn't answer his question. You did all this work, because I know you Googled it. There's no way you knew that unit thing, because I didn't know. If you're a big geography fan, I guess you could see the region or territory, but there's no way you knew that unit, even if you're outside of America on top of it. Because I'm in America, and I didn't know there was a unit like that. Person 3 is from the Hispanic community. Where he's from, he thinks America is a singular continent. Okay, it doesn't mean they're right. So person A was like, it's what the USA is called. And we enjoy that privilege. My God, it's not a privilege. It's a name. That's how the name is. And not only in English, but most other languages as well. They call it the United States of America. It's a privilege to live here. It's not a privilege to have the name. America isn't a country, but a continent. I don't blame you. Too many school shootings in your country to learn geography properly. Well, I'm not going to get too political on it, but let's talk about that school shooting comment. What you described, and you didn't know this, so I don't blame you. A lot of articles like to lump school shootings into 3 categories, and they like to lump together as one, which is the one you're thinking of, and then people who take their own lives in school with a handgun, or the third one, which is an actual misfire. Most of the things called school shootings happen with the last two. Now, why is it lumped together? I have my theories, but I do not want to discuss it any further. And this guy clearly did not know that. And then the geography thing. We went separate schools in different countries entirely. Sometimes we get teachings wrong or mixed up. You know, it's not exclusive to your country and your country's right all of a sudden. That's very idiotic. And then he goes, you live in a third world country. Oh yes, the country with clean water, mostly, free education, with some of the best medicine in the medical field that is available on the shelves at Walmart. It's a third world country. Man, I feel like poorer than dirt. Man, someone can tell the difference between a country and a continent and yet knows about the school shootings in America. Buddy, even with the school shootings, we can tell a dumbass can't figure out why we call USA America and why other places don't. Here's another one. For some reason, I lost it. I don't have the screenshot no more. But you can just imagine it on screen. Which is the second person's comment. Which he says, I'll keep it simple. It's none of them. I guess he used a crap pipe for his sources. I think I'm starting to understand these guys' thoughts. You know, they've been smoking crack. But they kind of washed away once you see this guy replies. So the first guy that wrote person 1 finally gives the correct answer. And saying is C. Keep in mind, only 2% of people got the answer right. 2% got the answer right. And he goes, it was used between 1848 and 1851, which is even more correct. He is speaking facts. There's no lies in it, only facts. Most of these comment section only swallows, but this guy spit facts. And then the same person 2 was like, it's not current. Again with the current crap. At no point in that question have they ever specifically said that it was a current flag. They asked about real flags. I don't understand where the word currently comes from. And then he replies back with my exact thoughts. Then he doubles down and he goes, that's generally what it means. Most polls like this usually want us to pick the current flag. So, okay, let's play with that thought. So the last 20 polls we do have the question 2 plus 2. And they give you some random options. But we know it's 4, so we click 4 for every time, and it's mostly right, okay? But what about the next poll you see? After doing 20 of them, it's 3 plus 3. You know what this guy would do? He'll be like, but the last 20 polls I saw were 2 plus 2, so that's clearly what they're talking about. So he puts in 4 still, which you obviously do. You don't put 6 no more. You put 4 because the last 20 polls you had done, it's still talking about 2 plus 2. Which the other guy gives examples why it's so stupid. That's also where I got the math equation example from. I believe he would start turning into one of them with the South American one. I kind of understand where he's coming from, but not. But don't worry about that one because the next one, the guy triples down on his previous statement with the, no, he couldn't meant that way, which he never provides that he does. Just because unless you can prove he meant it that way, you can't just say could've. Either he did or did not. There's no, there's a maybe. You know, I am re-recording some of these stuff after a couple days, and I now finally figured out that, hey, I should probably look at the other polls he made, because, you know, no one has never really mentioned it. And I just finally figured out myself, like, hey, maybe this is actually a problem. The reason why people use the word currently is because the other polls. Well, he made polls for about 6 months, 6.5 months by now. And I only look at the poll with the question, where's the real flag of said country? Well, all the polls, besides this one, use the current flag for that said country for that question. So, in this particular poll, this is either a trick question for regular voters, which I wasn't one of them, or the guy who made this poll completely messed up and accidentally put an actual flag used by the Americans. And no one in the comment section was like, hey man, maybe you check the other polls out. No, it's like, he could have mentioned that, or it's murky in the water or something like that. And it's like, no, either he did or did not. Sure, now you have like, all of these polls back up what I said, but it doesn't mean it's true. Unless if the guy who made the poll comes out and was like, no, this is what I actually meant, we will probably never know if it's supposed to be like that or not. And he goes, I don't see a need to continue this discussion. My guy, you started it, and you're gonna end it like you won? That's not how arguments work. Sure, if you're getting a little heated, you can take a step back for a moment and calm yourself down. That's perfectly reasonable. But you're just gonna leave without giving the other guy a chance? That is so bad. That is really, really bad. That's not how you handle discussions. The delusions in some of these people is outrageous. But the other guy had a lot more than I than I did. I was trying to make a video. He wrote a fucking novel, and I bet he'll get a New York best-selling Times. And I will break it down as simply as I can. One, he apologizes for any bad blood. He just wants a simple discussion that we had our differences, and it's perfectly fine to have a back-and-forth conversation. I respect that. He also talks about why C isn't the correct answer. A. The reason why A is wrong is because it has too many stripes. B is wrong because it has too few stripes. And D is wrong because C is right. And it can't be none of them if C is right. And the answer cannot be none of them if C is right. And he has sources too on top of that. Now he linked at Wikipedia. Now I trust Wikipedia. I also find websites like ushistory.org that also says C is a real flag. So Wikipedia is not the only one telling that. It's some other sources as well. And then this other guy replies, mucho texto, which perfectly sums up that whole conversation. Finally get a few people that pass basic schooling and comments, pro tip, never trust the most voted option. Which you are absolutely right. When it comes to question like this, you always want to question, don't always trust the most voted. You want to take time to research if you don't know the answer. Now, if the answer is obvious, that's fair. But you also want to make sure you do a little bit of research before you vote. Because there's no way 2% of people should have got that right. It should have been so much more. It should have been so much more than 2%. It was the least chosen answer, which is so sad. There are about 900 comments like this. We barely scratched the surface. There's so many more comments like these, and honestly I don't know if there's any other people that got the answer right, but yeah, that's about it. But before I end it, let me do my best moist critical impression intro outro.
So yeah, that's about it. See ya.